Oh my God. Okay, we are derailed before hitting any point in our run sheet.
That's true.
I believe that the pre-show chatter serves a purpose. Like and
Okay.
Are we ready?
I'm going to just
I'm
be
ready.
quiet.
Me too.
Let's begin. Hello and welcome to this very special LingFest23 episode of Because Language, a show about linguistics, the science of language. My name is Daniel Midgley. Let's meet the team. He's known around here as the Dice Man. But unfortunately,
Love
he
it.
doesn't know
I
why,
love it.
because he doesn't have a memory that lasts 2 shows back.
No, that's absolutely accurate.
It's a reference to whether you say either or either, and it's just random.
Oh, I see.
That
I thought
bonus
it was an
episode.
oblique reference to the obscure, terrible, 80s book, The Dice Man. There was just a morally repugnant story about a guy who lived his life that way, which,
Okay.
not inaccurate also, I guess.
I think I've read that. It's Ben Ainsley.
Hello.
And even if no Zoomer ever thought she was cool, she is still undeniably and perpetually cool. It's Hedvig Hurgard.
Yeah.
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 Dig that.
Yeah.
And hello to...
Yeah, I'm... Mm.
No,
you
no,
go.
forge ahead, Hedvig.
please.
You're the one.
No, I was just going to talk bullshit. It's fine.
We'll have plenty of chances for that.
Yeah. No. It's going to happen. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Hello to everyone joining us on Zoom. You are our wonderful patrons who give us ideas, who give us financial support. You make it possible to keep the show going, paying our bills, and you are the reason why the regular episodes are free for everyone. So thanks for being here. This is a chance to have fun. We're going to do something really special, and that is we're going to be voting on tricky language issues. Our votes from this episode will be binding on all English users for all time, because that's
Yes.
how language works.
No one elected us. We were summoned by a higher being, and that's it.
Yeah.
The higher being.
Do you remember the last one of
Done.
these that we did? It was a couple of years ago.
I do. I mean, yeah. We decided lots of stuff.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, for sure. It was really good. I really liked it. I have a memory of
Oh,
it.
I
It's a
enjoyed
really
it.
strong memory.
I just remember discussing back and forth a lot. Now I don't always recall which one won, but I recall having a good time. Which,
Well,
you know,
I'll tell you. We decided in that episode that when you turn the aircon down, the room gets
warmer,
warmer.
Good.
We determined that fish were indeed wet,
obviously.
and water is wet.
Obviously.
We decided that if a test was deceptively simple, it was easy or hard.
easy.
Hard.
It was easy. That's what we
Okay,
decided.
well, that's obviously wrong because I don't agree with it.
Well, that's too bad, because you were there. You could have said something at the time.
I almost certainly did at
I'm
length,
Pretty sure he
Yeah,
did.
actually,
at
I
length,
think
yeah.
you did. Yeah,
ad
actually.
nauseum.
Yeah. Yeah.
We decided that if something happened bi-weekly, it was not every 2 weeks, but it was twice a week. It was
Obviously.
close. It was close.
Obviously.
So there were. Oh, and we decided that if it's Saturday and you say next Monday, then it's Monday week. But if it's Saturday and I say let's get together next Friday, then it's the coming Friday. It's like 4 or 5 days is like some kind of next limit. You can't say it's the next one before, like when it's 2 or
Yeah.
3 days. Has to be 6 or 7. Okay. So
Yeah,
Ben,
I'm with
Ben
that
looks
one.
with disapproval. Ben doesn't like this one. Okay.
I protest.
Okay.
I protest.
Well, we have new topics to argue about.
Yes, good.
Yes, we
and
do.
argue I shall.
But first, lead us in, Ben.
Oh, yep. Show notes. That's the thing. Hold on. 1 second.
No, you just have to do the thing that you do where you lead me in.
Oh,
We say, what's
okay,
going
cool.
on?
Yeah, I
in
can-
the...
Cool. Oh, let's let Hedvig have a crack. She's been doing the show for, I don't know, years now. I reckon she's up to the task.
Okay.
No, Daniel.
No, Daddy thinks I'm not.
Oh my god!
And I honestly think I'm not. So
I think
Acting.
we just found one of Daniel's like ASD adjacent icks because that was deep. That ran deep in
Yeah.
his soul. He was
Was
just
that-
like,
yeah,
I don't want that. I
Was
don't
that
want
convincing?
that at all.
You bought that?
there are.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
There,
yeah.
there
Yeah,
are.
that was
No,
that's what you were
that
doing,
was
Daniel.
real.
Good cover.
I want to hear it. I
Mhm.
want Hedvig.
No, I accept that. I'm not good at everything. That's
I
fine.
don't think that's
Like-
actually what's being reflected here. I think Daniel just has a completely irrational aversion immediately in his soul to that.
Hedvig?
Hey, Daniel, what's
take...
been going on in the world of linguistics in the week gone past?
No, I don't want you. I want Hedvig. Do it.
No,
Ah,
sorry.
this is
Please made
mutiny.
it worse.
Fine.
Hey, Daniel,
Yes. No.
what
No.
the bloody hell has been going on in the world of linguistics? Tell
Give me
me.
a kitty.
Tell me the news, you bastard.
Fuck it. Okay, this one was suggested by Rianne, and it's about Australian money. So this is going to be, this is going to have a lot of breadth. It seems that King Charles will not appear on the new Australian $5 note. It's not a £5 note either. Take that, monarchists.
Fair enough.
The worst person in Australian politics, whose name is?
Peter Dutton, I'm going with.
Thank you. Very good.
Good.
Still,
Look, there's competition, by the way. I don't feel like that's a lock. I feel
I
like we
think
could
there's a
definitely throw some other names
famous
forward. but-
Queenslander woman that maybe.
oh, that one. Time could have been that we could have said Christopher Pine, of all things.
Oh,
Remember
everyone's
those days?
favorite mummy.
Yep. But no, Peter Dutton, he said it was another attack on our systems, on our society, and our institutions, to which I say, challenge accepted.
Can
I
I
mean-
profess a ignorance around how like money works when like famous royals die?
Well,
So can someone just run me through what's happening in England first of all? Like, do they just change all their
Think-
money
there's a new sheriff in
No.
town.
from the
No.
time that it happens? They just start printing different money.
Well, they're printing money all the time,
Yeah, that I understand.
and then they change the design, and then the old money, as long as it's within a certain period, is still valid currency.
Yeah,
Like
so
it's what
that
you
I
think
all
it is. I
get.
think it is.
But what I'm asking
Yeah.
is, have they immediately, like the day Prince Charles took the throne, did all the new
Oh.
everything that's getting stamped and printed now have his visage on the back?
Well, first of all, the Cory Bobs are in May. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
Cory Bob?
Coronation.
Coronation.
Oh,
This
hang
is-
on a second. Who the fuck is in charge? My
I
understanding
don't-
is like the queen who like died, she went up a tree a princess and came down a queen because her dad died.
Okay. Anybody want to jump in and tell us who's in charge right now?
Well, obviously, like I chose the wrong words. The royals aren't in charge. Who is the king or queen at the moment?
Is it the king consort?
He's officially the king, but he hasn't been coronated yet. He officially became our king immediately.
Thank you, Annie.
So,
Phew.
what? Hang on. Do we tie the money to the coronation? Is that how this works? This is very odd.
I think I've heard that there's a lot of money coming out that's going to still be the queen for quite a while because those
Mhm.
plans have been in the works for a long time. And I actually
Oh.
am not sure when the king's money would come out, but I think we can be prepared to have queen money for quite a while.
And in Australia, we're also going to have Queen money for quite a while. There won't be a change for quite a bit. That needs to be planned and things. However, it looks like we are going to have not an Aboriginal person, but rather an Aboriginal theme. That's according to the head of the RBA, the Reserve Bank.
Wait, as in instead of the king or the queen?
Correct.
Yeah.
King
Oh,
Charles
sick.
won't be on there.
Maybe like artwork or something.
Ah, cool.
Yes,
cool.
something like that.
Okay, so we buried the lead on that one a little bit because you said King Charles isn't going to be on it. I assumed Lizzie was just going to keep rocking the pearls.
Oh, right. No, not really.
Wicked. That's great news.
Here's how this usually works. The Queen usually ends up on the lowest denomination note, and she was on the paper $1 note. but that got discontinued in 1984 and moved over to coins. So then the $5 note became the lowest one. And so the $5 note got her picture on it in 1992.
Wicked.
But now we're going to not have Prince/King Charles on the money. I think that's huge. I think that not having the monarchy on our money, that's kind of bigger than when Triple J decided not to have the hottest 100 vote on Australia Day, January 26th.
Okay.
I think.
Well, okay, you picked a similarly not huge thing though. So
I think they're both huge. I think these are the things that move things.
No, I think they are symptoms of things that have already moved. And I think Australians don't use cash that much. So very few people are going to
that's
notice it.
another really good point.
Crucial thing, right? Is like this
Right.
this thing
Who's
is
gonna
how
see
I've
that?
paid for everything for ages.
Yeah.
Very slight correction. We will still have
Yep.
King Charles on our money. He'll just be on the coins.
On the coins, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
the design
okay.
is still being finalized. It'll get printed sometime in the middle of this year, they say.
I forgot about
But again,
coins.
like who is going to see that? Probably not a lot of people, right?
Fewer and fewer of us.
Yes, I think it's diminishing. But to say that we like all don't use money is probably a bit of an exaggeration. Like there's still a lot of people who pay in cash. I know because I stand behind them in lines for things at shops and I'm like, oh, as they count it out.
Good point. Let's go on. This next story is suggested by Diego. Diego's, are you here by chance?
Diego
Looking through
doesn't
the
look
list.
like he's here.
Diego doesn't look like he's here. All right.
I
Oh,
miss
by the way,
Diego.
just to go back, Pharaoh Cat says Australians in general don't like Charlie. This is what I wanted to say. Hedvig and I were having a discussion. You know, I said, when the Queen dies, what's going to happen? I thought that maybe this would be the impetus to heave over into a republic. And Hedvig, as I remember, you were saying, I think everyone's probably going to give Charles a chance. Let's say he's been at it for so long.
Oh, he's new on the job. He waited
The
for
job.
such a long time. We don't want to pull the rug out of him as he just got there. Like,
And I think this is evidence that we are, in fact, actually aiming for a major monarchist rug pull.
I don't know.
But it might be
I
a
disagree. I
slow-
think you are. No, I think Daniel, you are profoundly discounting Australian. If it isn't like, don't fucking muck with it. Ism. Like Australians are just so deeply like, oh man, it's not causing me any fucking problems. Let's just leave it alone, eh? Like that's just we're so lazy. We're
Are
such
you saying that we're a bunch
people.
of affluent, comfortable, middle class sort of
Yes.
conservatives?
And we've already got one referendum this year when like referendums are so rare and a big deal anyway. I can't see a Republican referendum coming down the pike
What's the referendum this year?
on Indigenous voice in Parliament. Oh, Daniel.
We've got to focus on that. Slipped my mind. Oh, well, at least I know how I'm voting on that one.
Yeah, well, true.
Let's
Wait,
move on.
You don't know how you'd vote on a... Anyway.
anyway, is the right answer.
Suggested by Diego, this one is about the Amorite language, which was not one that I was really aware of because it's so ancient and was possibly even like not considered to be a language for lack of evidence. But there's an article in Live Science by Tom Metcalf about some clay tablets covered in what looks like cuneiform, discovered in Iraq, about 4,000 years old, and the article calls it a Rosetta Stone. Let's dig back into our memory. What's the Rosetta Stone?
That was a piece of rock that was discovered in the somewhere in the Middle East, and it had 3 different languages on it. From memory, it had Greek, cuneiform, and Egyptian. No,
it had. You got 2 out of 3. Hedvig?
Okay.
We got Greek and Egyptian hieroglyphics. What was the third?
Sumerian.
Nope.
Akkadian.
Now it's going to be one of those things where it's got a synonym, and I say no to the synonym, which is actually correct. Demotic.
Oh, Oh,
sorry. A version. I got to move things along here.
Heather guessed Coptic.
No, it's Demotic, a version that was spoken by the people. But it had those same thing written in 3 languages, so they were able to go back and forth and say, well, if these all say the same thing and Egyptian hieroglyphics look like this, then we can decipher Egyptian. And they did. Well, this is kind of like a Rosetta Stone as well, because this has Akkadian, which we can read, and it has a language known as Amorite. And the Live Science article has a bit of an email from Dr. Manfred Krebernick and Dr. Andrew R. George, who say that, quote, our knowledge of Amorite was so pitiful that some experts doubted whether there was such a language at all, end quote. It is similar to Hebrew, but the writing predates Hebrew because it is cuneiform, where you would take kind of a piece of wood, a reed.
Yeah, like a corner of a stick, right? Like, and you just like make little liney things.
That's it. You just press it into the clay. So it's really exciting to find this, and it contains lots of ceremonial language. It contains phrases. It contains some poetry. It's a pretty cool find.
That
it is really cool.
Really neat. Where was Acadia? Question mark.
Where was Acadia?
I know this.
I can do that.
So Acadia was a kingdom in what we sometimes call Mesopotamia, which is the land between 2 rivers, Euphrates and Tigris, in largely what we think of today as modern Iraq. Acadia was next to Sumer and was sort of interacted with Sumer stuff. But as far as I know, Akkadian culture is considered to be Semitic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're related.
The writing
to
actually has a lot to do with Hebrew. It looks a lot like Hebrew.
Yeah. So it's like related to like Hebrew and Arabic, etc. Whereas Sumer, we don't know where the F they came from. And if you're interested, there is a great episode. Well, there are all these things about that they came from the water. It's really cool. The Great Pod Fall of Civilizations has an episode. What's that episode called? I forget which one it is, but they have a great episode on it, and it's like really cool.
Now I have to find it and stick it in our show notes. That's because language.com. That's okay. Don't find it now. Oh, hey, cats are cruising around. Anybody have a cat? Bring them into shot. We'll feature them.
Did you not see the cat earlier? My cat? I pulled
my
her up to
screen
the
is...
mic because she was purring really loudly.
I did. I saw cement.
So cute.
Okay, so in our last episode, we mentioned a couple of language finds, which nobody's heard yet because I haven't edited it yet. But this is another one, so it's really cool. And then we've got our last news item from Joe via email, and Arestemo also suggested this story. Joe says, I'm a regular listener to your podcast, and it's always wonderful. A friend shared this news story on a private Discord, and well, it provides a disheartening example of how messing up with language can serve to increase social injustice. What's the story? Well, according to an article in Alaska Public, there was a Typhoon Merbok, which caused a lot of destruction in Alaska, and the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, hired a company based in California to translate some information into 2 languages, Inupiaq and Yungtun, which is also known as Central Yupik. And when the translations came back and they were given to the people as a way of telling them, here's how to get help, it actually just contained gibberish. It was basically text copied and pasted and rearranged from an old book from the 1940s. Some of the sample text was, your husband is a polar bear, Skinny. Tomorrow he will go hunting very early and will bring nothing.
Ouch.
Joe says, I mean, FEMA releasing word salad, even in the wrong script, as instructions for people harmed by recent floods to apply for aid. It beggars belief, if I'm honest, how many layers of due diligence have to fail at FEMA for this to be the result. Anyway, I thought you might like the opportunity to rake them over the coals a bit. I hope you folks are well and safe. Thanks again for such an informative and hilarious podcast. No, thank you, Joe.
I have a question.
Yes, Ben.
I want to put Hedvig on the spot. Can I do that?
Yeah.
All right. Hedvig, you get a call from someone at your school, and basically that call is like, hey, I've just been in touch by like someone from MSF has just got in touch with us, Médecins Sans Frontières. They're going to do a thing in Samoa, but they're really struggling to get hold of anyone who like can do any translation work. And you were the person that I thought of who could help them out. Now, you as a linguist who has familiarity with that language and connections, what do? How do you help this aid organization translate important stuff?
I would reach out to people I know in Samoa who are native speakers and who know it much, 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 much better than me. And I would specifically ask MSF if there's payment or if it's a volunteer thing. And then I would reach out to my network and find someone that I know, 2 native Samoan linguists who would do a better job than me, for example. So, yeah, I would never try to do it myself.
So this is. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot.
But I would help.
Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot. But basically, my question was
this
the
happens.
logical thing
this
here is
this kind of thing has happened to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So why would FEMA not do that? Why would they not just get in touch?
They trusted the agency called Accent on Languages, a California company. They didn't go to anybody in Alaska. They went to California.
But maybe they thought that company would do that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I guess, but and I suppose rightly so, right? Because if a company who proffers to do these services fucks something up this badly, they're not going to get a lot more work. But then I guess my question is, why would the company have fucked it this badly?
They're overconfident tech bros.
Oh, yeah, well.
The head of the company said, okay, we fired the people who were responsible for this. We're not using those translators again. It goes through different layers. So FEMA talks to the translation company, and then the company hires people that they think will do a good job, but they don't have knowledge of the language. So the fuck up can happen on many different levels. And, well, that's what we get. It's basically the equivalent of when there's somebody who's hired to be the sign language interpreter, but they're just making it up. We've seen a couple of stories like that. And it's just, it just falls down sometimes. It's horrible. But it just goes to show that adequate translation is not just a language issue. It is a social justice issue. It is a health issue. It's an education issue. Some of the speakers of the languages were punished at school for speaking their language. And so having garbage presented to them instead of good information kind of really opens up some old wounds. So multiple levels of verification would really help. All right. It's time to play Related or Not. In this game, we give you 2 words, and you have to guess if they are related etymologically or if the similarity between them is merely coincidental.
I love this. Only when I beat Hedvig, but I love it.
We all had a lot of fun playing yeah, no, or no, yeah with the good people at the Oxford English Dictionary, but that sponsorship has run its course. But we still like the game.
We like the game.
I'm torn on whether I should go back to viciously mocking them or not now, because this I don't want to. I know the hand's no longer feeding us,
don't.
I can bite it now, but maybe it'll feed us
again. Do you want to? They're a dictionary. What are you gonna? Why you need to bite them?
Yeah, you know what? And Dick's right there in the net. Sorry, had to. It was right there.
Ben loved you, OED. He would have cut a bitch.
I really would have.
Okay, anyway, related or not, it's a fun game. And if we get sponsored by another dictionary, we'll just use them for it.
We'll get in touch and we might consider it. But for now, we're going to pull our etymological information from a wide range of sources. So here's this round. And everybody else, feel free to play along. If you are doing architecture and you're an architect, one of the things that you might design is an arch. But are they related or not?
I see.
Arch and architecture, related or not? Okay, so Ben and Hedvig, I'm going to ask you whether you think yes or no, and your reasons, and then I'm going to invite people to unmute and give their guesses as well. No sneaky looking things up yet.
Hedvig says yes.
Arch and architecture.
I also say yes. Headers, do you want to give your reason first? Because you got in there with a thumbs up real bloody quick.
I don't know. It just
well, then you can shut up. I've got an idea.
Yeah, good. Go ahead. Arches are really important was all I was going to say. So it's important to design them.
I've got a slightly more detailed guess, I guess. That doesn't mean it's accurate, though.
Okay,
so I'm thinking a lot of our words for shit like architecture comes from the phase, in English, I should say, that phase of like Christendom where we were just frothing on the classical world, right? Like where like the greatest thing you could possibly be was like a thinker from ancient Greece or whatever. So I'm thinking that that architecture probably like as a word and being an architect as an idea probably bubbled around in like the 1600s when everyone was just had a massive hard on for like Greek classicism. And because of that, they look back at that time and were like, oh, arches were like the things, right? Like with the fucking Roman aqueducts and all that sort of shit. Like always arch based.
Love their
all that
arches.
kind of stuff.
Love their arches.
Loved it. Froth on the arches. So I'm thinking that's the link, basically. They looked back and were like, well, those cats were amazing and we love them for everything. And they were mad for arches. So we'll call it architecture.
Okay, anybody else? We've got 2 yeses. Who says no and maybe not? We're getting a lot of yeses in chat.
I have one more argument for a yes.
Okay.
But I kind of want to hear an argument for a no.
I do too. Come on, somebody.
It's going to be really good if it is no, because we're all going to look like doofuses.
All right. Nobody wants to put it out there, so I will give you the answer in 3, 2, 1.
Everyone's guess.
The answer is arch. What? I got an ooh from Hedwig.
Annie's guessing no.
Annie's the lone no. Is she the only one guessing no? All right. I stand alone. Annie, you are correct. They are not related.
Oh, upset.
So the word arch comes from Latin arcus, a bow. But in architecture, the archi doesn't have anything to do with a bow. It means chief or master. That's Latin, which is why you can have an archduke or an archdeacon. Also unrelated to the Archie arches, it's from a master or a chief. The tecton part means builder or carpenter. So an architect is a master builder. How about that?
There we go.
Wow.
Annie with the win. She's got a very nice tabby cat, and she is definitely smarter than all of us.
All right. Now, in the Discord, I asked people, did you have any that you wanted to try? Now's a good time to unmute and lay it on us. You can stump us all.
I'm stroking my chin provocatively.
Pharaoh Cat.
There's one that I was actually curious about, and so that's why I'm using this one. If you have a grave that you dig in the ground, or you think something is grave as in important
significant
or significant,
grave
serious
insult.
Yes.
Are those two things related or not?
Yes.
Oh,
this is a guess, but I'm saying yes because things that are graves are deep, and also a grave is a serious matter. So I do think that they would be related.
I'm gonna pull an Annie. I'm gonna go a no.
Oh, contrarian.
Yep. It seemed to work for her, so I'm gonna give it a crack. My guess is that grave, as in the seriousness thing, as opposed to the hole in the ground where you stick dead people. I think that might be a shifted loan word like grav from some other kind of language.
Okay. And Hedwig, what's your guess?
I'm not really sure, but I'm also like Laura thinking about accent grave.
I am too.
Which my French teacher always said that because accent grave goes from up to down if you think left to right. And she always said we should imagine like a shovel in a grave to remember.
Very nice.
That's how I remember it. Because it is sort of same in Swedish, like en grav, a grave, and this person is gravely underrated, gravt underskattad. So
that's a
they're
strong.
Like exactly the same.
Yeah.
But is that just because of the same reason that they're the same in English? I think they're related, but I'm feeling doubtful.
Okay.
Danish would say grov, not grav, which is like rough instead of. I hadn't thought of those as it's related.
Oh, grov.
Might very well be. Yeah.
Like coarse.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like grovsalt. Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that related.
I think that's different, but that's a good point. That's a good point.
Would you like the answer?
I think I'm ready.
Very much.
They are not related.
Fuck yes!
Oh,
Get
goodness.
some! Come on!
Both of them have Proto-Indo-European roots, which is probably why they're very similar across multiple Proto-Indo-European languages. But grave, as in the digging of a grave, comes from a word grev, to cut or scrape. So that's that digging motion.
Yep.
And grave, as in heavy, comes from another word which I cannot pronounce because it's got like a DH in it somewhere. But it means something that is heavy physically. So these two words are unrelated and just sound very similar.
Dang.
I wonder then if that's why the piece of armor is called greaves.
Don't know
That is a
one.
good question.
But Ben, not the host one, is asking, is that the same word groove? And it does. It appears it goes as well back to the Proto-Indo-European root grebe, to dig or to bury or to scratch, which is exactly where we see the grave that you dig come from. So groove and grave are related, but grave and grave aren't. Ha!
When I shuffle off this mortal coil, I expect all of you to gather around my groove.
Your groove. You don't know where your groove is yet, do you? I don't think I'll have a groove. Anybody got one more? I think we have time for one more. And then it's time to vote.
I thought Laura had one.
Oh, Laura,
Laura just answered my question. Thank you, Laura. Greaves comes from French for shin.
Oh,
Laura does have one
as
though.
well. Oh my
All right.
God, Laura, look at you go. You're like busier than a beaver.
Legend.
Answering my
Lay it on
question,
us, Laura.
having one of your own. Let's hear it.
Boom.
Okay. So Laura says tambourine and tam o' shanter.
The hat.
I don't know what a tam o' shanter is. Apparently
Neither
it's a
do I.
hat.
It's a hat. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna like Google because I know what a tambourine is. It's that round thing that goes ding 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 in like indie pop bands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to.
And I'm gonna look up a tam o' shanter.
I don't think they're related.
It's a hat.
It's a Scottish hat.
It's exactly. It's the thing that you imagine Scottish people wearing when they play golf.
Little ball on the top,
like sort of like a beret.
I'm gonna do the best one of these that I can to describe, and I reckon this will get a lot of people. It's what Genie from Aladdin wears when he turns himself into a Scottish dog to do the laddie gag.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is exactly that.
Pharaoh Cat has a putative similarity between the roundness of the tam and the roundness of the tambourine. Mm. Like those are the only two things that are round.
I reckon this one is related.
Nah, I'm not. Total coincidence.
Total coincidence? All right.
I think they're related.
I'm going on my own
Come
here.
on. Now, we have got right here one of the rarest of all things. Ben and Hedvig in unison, and we could potentially defeat Daniel, which would be just the best thing ever.
It's always two of you against me. It's always the two of you. All right. Okay, Laura, we're ready. Put your bets.
What have we got?
We're waiting for the chat to come through.
Oh, Laura's already written. No?
Here we go.
Yes? No? Yes?
Completely different, but I like the Tam O'Shanter etymology, which is why I shared it. Yay, I win! I won this one.
Oh,
this is fucking bullshit.
Good job, Laura. Sorry, that was good. That was
Laura,
good.
that was great. I am booing Daniel. If in doubt, always know I'm booing Daniel.
I value your hatred. No, what is it? Tam O'Shanter, Tam from a man. It's a man's name, Tom of Shanter. Of course it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
okay. And then the tambourine is like, I remember things like timbrel or the tambourine. It's the een is diminutive. It's a small drum. It's a small tambour, a small timbrel. Very cool. I love this game. But now, it's time to solve the world's problems. So
yes,
let's do it
by arguing a lot.
Okay, but we're gonna try to keep it fairly brisk. So let's get it going. Here we go. Number one. I had to walk 10 kilometers there and back. How far away is the place? Is it 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, or 20 kilometers? Make your votes now.
I've voted.
There are 11 of us. We've got 7 votes. Okay, does anybody have a reason why they think it might be that way?
I feel like it needs a comma.
A comma?
I had to walk 10 kilometers there, comma, and back. If the comma was there, it would mean 10 kilometers either way. Without the comma, I feel like it means 5 kilometers either way.
Okay, anybody else got any other reasonings?
I think I'd expect someone to say to specify that they meant like in total. So I sort of understand it as with the comma. Ben mentioned it, unless people were specifying like, I mean, all in all.
Okay.
I expect it to mean all in all. I would expect it to be 5 kilometers, because if you go 10 kilometers there and back, there's an and there, and I add those together.
Try to not go mathematical about it, but just go by your feels. If I said, oh man, I had to walk 10 kilometers there and back.
But what if Farrakhat's feelings are math?
That's fine. Then that is fine.
I agree with her. Like,
I feel math.
Yes.
I'm married to one. Like, you know.
Okay. Well, it's time to close off the poll. Let's see how we went. It turns out that it's 50-50. No help at all.
Yeah, but Daniel, you didn't vote and I didn't vote.
Why didn't you vote?
I voted.
Because I can't vote.
Why can't you vote?
Because you have made me a co-host of the session.
Oh,
He
I
made
suppose.
me too, and I can vote.
No, I didn't. I just made you possible to record.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly, Animal Farm style, all the animals are equal. Some are just more equal than others.
There it is.
Yeah.
50-50. Okay.
But Daniel, that means you and I can decide this thing.
We can duke it out. What do you say, Ben?
Well, why don't you tell me where you sit? What do your feels say, Daniel?
I think 10 kilometers. I just feel like it's 10 kilometers because 10 has a salience. Like, I don't feel like I'm doubling it if I say 10 kilometers. I feel like that's one way. And then you go back. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think the comma really does make a difference, because if I say there, comma, that's 10.
Yeah.
And back, which is a separate thing.
Yeah.
So then it would be 20.
So you're thinking you think the place is 5 kilometers away and this person has traveled 10 kilometers in total, correct?
No, I think it's 10 kilometers away.
No, he thinks the other way. Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah, you think it's 10 kilometers away. That's what you just said, Daniel.
Yes. But I might
Then
change
why
my
were you saying
mind as I
20?
talk about it more.
You crazy man.
Okay, well, we're just going to do the next one. And
Fair
it's
enough.
this.
Okay. I was looking forward to a decision.
Sorry.
Well, I think Daniel cast the tie-breaking vote.
But I don't remember what I said.
Oh, you
It's
absolute buffoon.
Well, that's just how it goes. I substituted oil for butter. Does that mean I added oil, not butter? Or does it mean I added butter, not oil?
I substituted oil for butter. Yeah, okay.
I just went with my gut, but
I have a feeling that this one's going to be a little bit easier.
yeah,
So-
me too.
People are making the right choice here. I agree. Democracy has a place for this moment.
As long as it's what you like. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks
Kitty
that.
just said my gut changed its mind twice, and I feel that.
Yep, I do too. Let's close off the vote. And what do we got? Just about everyone
Most
thinks.
people, yeah.
Go ahead, Hedvig, be the narrator.
Most people voted that the thing that was added to the pot was oil instead of butter.
Okay, well, now it's time for the next one. Dude.
Just to be clear as well, whilst I completely agree semantically with what we've decided, cooking-wise, no, butter.
Oh,
let's cook in that butter. It's delicious.
depends on if it's brownies or something. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Dude. I often mistake Stephen for John. What does that mean? Does that mean I think it's Stephen, but it's really John? Or I think it's John, but it's really Stephen? Or could it be either? I'll give you some silence so that you can achieve mental clarity. I often mistake Stephen for John.
Yeah. Silence, you said, and I needed it. I was looking at the text and you kept talking. And I was like, it's not helping.
I'm shutting up now. This is me shutting up.
You're trapped.
All right.
No. I had shut.
Not enough time?
No, it's not enough time. Just
Come
be
on,
quiet
Heathers.
for a moment longer.
Mate. Wait, this is one of the few times that we have done a show at a time where you're supposed to be like good times.
You're at your peak. This is like noon for you. Okay, I'm gonna we've got a couple more people who need to vote.
Okay, I put my headphones back on so I can hear you again.
I can. Ben, I think I'm gonna make you not a co-host so that you can vote.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, fair enough.
I can record, but I'm not okay.
You're not a co-host.
All good.
By the way, I would vote for the thing that's like winning here.
You would?
Yeah.
Regardless of what that is. Okay,
No.
I'm going to...
As in, I agree with the people on this one.
Okay, let's see it. Dude, when I mistake Stephen for John, I think it's John, but it's really Stephen. Isn't this a funny one?
It is.
That it should be, like, you'd think this would be so straightforward, but it's not. Why did we get hung up on this one?
I think the 4. It was the same with the boiling utter.
I feel like there's just a tongue twister for your brain here. That's all. It's like, I often mistake Stephen for John. And then you've got to read through the 2 answers. I think it's Stephen, but it's really John. I think it's John, but it's really Stephen. It's like, wait, fucking, which one's the subject and which one's the object? I don't know. Like,
exactly.
All right, let the record show that 80% of us say that if you mistake Stephen for John, you think it's John, but it's really Stephen. Mistake is one of those. Let me just see if I have any notes on this one.
Like, mistake is a synonym for confuse here, right? Like, it's... Yeah.
By the way, you can see all of the results for these things on our website, becauselanguage.com. Just look for episode 71. Okay, this one was given to us by Diego. This is a couple here. The area was restricted to locals. What does that mean? Does that mean locals couldn't go to the area, or does it mean only locals could go to the area?
I voted.
I would have voted. Ooh, interesting.
So maybe we should clarify that Daniel and Ben, I can't, but they can see the vote ticking up on the different options. Whereas the rest of us plebes can just vote and then wait.
Did you all just hear
was that sound? Yes, I heard that. That was a very loud door.
Someone driving past my building clearly has like one of those novelty car horns. It's like,
oh no. Good old Perth, huh?
It's weird.
Okay, I'm going to close it off here. Most people said only locals go to the area. Okay, fair enough.
But there's a problem here.
What?
Restricted is an auto-antonym.
Oh yeah, oh, you mean a contronym?
Yeah, like it's like sanction, right? Like it can mean the opposite thing.
Trying to stop being host and clear my head here. So restricted. It's restricted, meaning you can't. Yeah, who are we restricting? Are we restricting them, or are we restricting everyone else?
Yeah, like who's the other in the situation?
What's the two doing? That's interesting. Okay. Let's go on then to the part B of this.
Oh God.
Yep.
It continues.
The area was restricted to photographers. Same sentence.
That was weird.
I've just taken locals and I've added photographers.
That one is harder because I want to vote the way I did previously, which is that only photographers could go to the area. But the fact that it's photographers makes me think like they weren't allowed there because photographers are the kind of people you want to forbid from going somewhere so they don't take pictures.
The area restricted.
So now,
but if you wanted to do it so that it was for photographers, then that's what you'd say. The area was restricted for photographers.
For photographers. Prepositions, aren't they mysterious?
They are.
All right.
It reminds me of like when I was listening to that QAnon podcast about the vote count and wherever it was, that they had such problems with like the press and the protesters that the police like took the parking lot like divided and was like, okay, press can stand over here and like QAnon folks can stand over there and like don't interact with each other because you just keep fighting.
Never the twain.
And they called it a free speech zone.
Oh anyway. God!
I remember that during the George Bush years and not liking it, but I can see how it might be in the public interest to keep protesters and journalists apart. Let's finish this poll, and I'm really surprised by this, actually. I thought of it as photographers couldn't go to the area, but most people thought only photographers could go to the area. It's a bit more balanced, whereas I think last time most people thought that if it was restricted to locals, only the locals could go.
Well, I think it's a 1 vote difference because before it was 78-22 and now it's 75-25.
Okay, so we swung one person. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I was going with Hedvig's logic because we know about photographers and they might be the sort of person that you might want to restrict from an area.
But then I thought about the parking lot, so I actually voted that it was only photographers.
And I think the other Ben might have said, there's plenty of circumstances where you need to put a little zone for photographers as well. In fact, I would argue there's probably more of those than not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I like about this one is that real world knowledge can sometimes guide interpretation. So, for example, what's the sentence? The police arrested the protesters because they feared violence. Who's they?
Yeah.
The police. The police arrested the protesters because they advocated violence. Now they isn't the police at all. It's the protesters. Likely. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we have real world knowledge, and that influences our choice of how pronouns lock on to antecedents, which is super interesting. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, I love this one. Floyd and the chickens are outside. Is Floyd a chicken? Your choices are Floyd is a chicken, Floyd is definitely not a chicken, or Floyd might be a chicken. Floyd and the chickens are outside. She says.
Really clear. Yeah. If anyone doesn't vote like me, you. Also, this is like a way of pragmatics that this is how jokes are built around this premise, right? This is a comedy.
Yep.
You say that in a very uncomedic fashion. You're being, dare I say it, quite German about it. You're like, this is comedy. This is how comedy works.
Germans are hilarious, by the way.
Honestly, I'm getting so in touch with my German.
Germans are hilarious.
No. Not everyone needs to be funny. And I listen to a lot of comedy and I rarely laugh out loud. And I like to analyze comedy. And I know what that makes me. But I don't care.
That's all right. That's fine. You be yourself. All right. We're going to end this poll. And the answers are Floyd is definitely not a chicken. Which is strange. Because then, think about the band. I say band loosely. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Alvin's definitely a chipmunk.
Yeah, okay, but hang on. What you're keying into there is a very specific example that harkens back to a naming convention for bands only, right?
Yes.
So-and-so and the Doobidees.
Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Yeah, just all that sort of shit,
Diana Ross
right?
is Supreme.
I don't know.
Are we saying that Diana Ross is not Supreme?
No, I'm talking about whether or not she is a Supreme. I know that she's the Supreme, but I'm not sure if she's a Supreme. Anyway, there was a funny tweet on this by my Twitter pal, Q Fever, who said, just pulling that up.
Joycey is a pussycat. That's absolutely true, Kitty. Thank you.
So Q Fever says, either definite plurals don't always denote maximal sets, or they should have been called Alvin and the other chipmunks. So maximal sets means they don't need to describe every single item in the set they refer to. So if I run into the house and I say, the chickens have gotten loose, it doesn't necessarily mean that every last one of them has gotten loose, especially if I'm in a hurry and I need to say something fast, as I would be if the chickens had gotten loose.
As well as Floyd.
As well as Floyd. And Floyd, who may or may not be a chicken.
Floyd is a duck.
I feel like, so I was going with duck, or Floyd is a particularly stupid dog, like an indoor dog that occasionally gets outside and then it causes absolute fucking mayhem because it's just messing with shit that it has no business messing with.
My partner said that maybe Floyd was a rooster. And I thought, well, that's interesting because then Floyd would be, whoever Floyd is in this group, it has to be salient in some way. Going back to our discussion with Mark Ellison, has to be salient either in being an extraordinary chicken or not being a chicken at all, somehow.
Yes, I agree with that. Isn't it, by the way, wild that like chicken denotes the age range of this animal at its like teenage years, right? And like chick is baby, chicken is teenage, and like an adult is a hen.
Oh, hang on. No. Whoa.
We got words all across the lifespan.
Shaking her head.
Hang on.
No.
Chicken.
No.
Chicken. Hang on.
Chicken.
Hang
what?
on.
Yes.
Chicken, my understanding was the stand-in for like peafowl. Is it not?
I mean, it kind of is. Like a chicken.
Right?
It might be both.
Like roosters.
Like, what word do we use to refer to the species if not chicken?
Roosters could be chickens, but chickens can't be roosters.
Yes, they can.
I think it's a cow-cow scenario that it's both. Like the species is a chicken and the teenagers are chickens.
No.
Like
Laura's like, hang on, peafowl are a whole nother thing. I know they are, Laura, but what I mean is there's peacocks and there's peahens, but the species is peafowl, and I thought chicken was like the version of peafowl.
Yes, but sometimes in this it happens that like the species is cow, the female is a cow, and the male is a bull. Like we have that thing, which is annoying and it happens.
Lioness, yeah.
Okay. I feel like, Hedvig, you can probably let go of chicken being a word for a teenage chook, because I don't think anybody uses that anymore.
Okay. Either way, regardless of the name, we humans mostly eat teenage chickens. That is still true, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Which is
because that's true for most animals that we eat, though. We don't let them get particularly old because then they get tough.
This is taking us into markedness theory, where one animal is allowed to stand, like usually it's the male. Like if you see a bunch of lions and lionesses, you say, oh, look at all those lions. But if you see a bunch of lions, you wouldn't say, hey, look at those lionesses. It doesn't go in the other direction. And usually it's the female of the species that's marked, like peahens are marked, but peacocks aren't. So peacocks can stand for both. Except in one case that I'm aware of, and that's where the male is marked, and that's a widower. Widows are kind of unmarked, and that's the female, but a widower is a male, and that's the marked one. So that's a case where it's flipped.
How?
What? Is a widow and a widower an animal that I'm not familiar with, or are you just referring to people whose spouses have died?
He's talking about like
I'm referring to humans.
Male and female stuff in general.
Yeah, I'm referring to males and females.
Oh, I see.
In general.
Oftentimes the male word can stand in for all. But this is cows. Cows can be bulls, but not all bulls can be cows. Like if I see, maybe I'm just dumb.
So the female is unmarked.
Okay.
Because the other ones are bulls.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so, is there a pattern?
I think it's true for some animals, mostly ones we probably eat, where the most important one is the lady one.
Yeah, because rooster's marked. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, and the ones we don't eat, like dogs, it's often the male one that's the unmarked. I think the ones that we use for hunting or stuff like that.
I need to do more work on this.
By the way, does anyone else here? Can you do a poll for me, Daniel? Because like my grandma was convinced that like all dogs are male and all cats are sort of female, and we had a female dog.
Sorry. Can we just go back a step? Was your grandmother honestly convinced that those species of animal?
No. Okay, but just conceptually,
it's just that to her, dogs conceptually were male, and cats were conceptually female. So if she saw a cat or a dog she didn't know, she would assume. I agree that it should be 50-50. But we had, for example, a female dog, and she would call him her. She would call her he all the time.
Right.
She'd be like, "Does he need water or something?" And we'd be like, "Yes, she could. It'd be great with a bowl of water."
It's like when little kids say, I think of the number 7 as a girl or something.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing.
Or like math is red. Everyone agrees math is red.
Okay, let's go on to our next. Oh, sorry. Annie?
No, I want a poll and Anna has something to say.
I don't want to do the poll. Please.
Yes, please.
I think there's like terms for like if a cow has been castrated and not like I think a heifer is a female cow that has never had a baby.
Yes.
I'm not sure what maybe it's a cow after it's had a baby. A castrated bull is a steer, and a uncastrated male cow is a bull. Yeah, there's a ton of words. Just wanted to add some terminology.
Yeah. I agree. It's like that.
Okay, it's time for another mind blow. Here we go.
Let's do it.
How many holes does a straw have?
Oh, God.
Haven't we done this one before?
Nope.
You sure?
No. I can see what you fucking lunatics are voting. Jesus.
Okay, we've got that one filled up kind of quickly, actually. But we've still got a couple.
Yeah, that was way easier.
Okay.
Well, clearly not, because most people got it wrong.
Well, I'd like to hear your reasoning here. Let's end the poll, because I think most people have finished. Here we go. The answer for all time. A straw has one hole. It's one hole.
It's not
goes all the way through.
No, it does not.
Tell me your reasoning, Ben, while I get the
geez,
next poll ready.
I don't know, Daniel. Perhaps because I can pinch the top of the straw at the top hole and close it off at that hole and leave the second hole open, clearly meaning there's 2 fucking holes in the thing. Jesus. Come on, people. Where is your head at?
Okay, Ben.
God.
He's got a point.
Does a hole need to have, does a hole go through something, or is
an opening is a hole.
What even is a hole?
Okay. All right. Okay, exactly. So exactly. So for example,
what you guys have all described as a hole is a tube, quite a long, thin one at that.
A straw is a tube. It doesn't have a tube.
No,
your tube. Actually, humans are tubes, and I love thinking about it. It's so good to think about. From your mouth to your anus, there is a tube, and you are, geometrically speaking, just a cylinder with some fancy bits and bobs.
I would describe us more as a donut, to be honest.
A torus.
Quite a disgusting, fleshy one, yeah. And here's the one that really fucks with me. I only learned this recently. All that shit on the inside, that internal bit, the inside of the donut that is a human being, is external tissue. What? Our gut is external. Fuck. Jesus. That just, when I learned that, I was like, well, everything is a lie. All knowledge is meaningless. I never accepted postmodernism until that moment.
Is a straw a donut?
No.
Thank you.
Don't be stupid, Daniel. All right, just stop it.
Okay, I'm going to stop that one. Let's go on to the next one.
How do you spell cylinder?
But I CYL. I do have to say that there was a funny story.
Is helping me.
I asked this question to my 3-year-old, my youngest daughter. I said, how many holes does a straw have? And with her 3-year-old brain, she said, 1. No, 2. She had a pause and said in a panic.
Proof.
Poor little.
Proof.
And the interesting thing about this question is that we don't always conceptualize all the aspects of an object. We just sort of pick it up and use it and classify it at the moment of use. So, for example, my 5-year-old said, whenever we go outside, we're touching the sky. And my 3-year-old said, how? And then there was a pause, and I said, we touch the air.
No!
And my 5-year-old said, yeah, air is sky.
Wrong.
Air is sky.
No.
Why not?
You don't touch the sky until you get in a plane or a hot air balloon, Daniel. Come on.
Barely then.
If I throw something up, it goes into the sky. I threw it up into the sky.
Oh, okay. If you throw it really, if you get like one of those vortexes, one of those cool footballs that does the whistly sounds, got the tail on it, yes. Other than that, no.
I can throw a rock into the sky. No. And it's not even that high.
What's next?
There's a really good YouTube channel called Philosophy Tube, which discusses some of this stuff. That's where I'll leave it.
We'll put that in our show notes. And now it's time for the next one. Is everyone having fun?
Mm-hmm.
I am.
This one comes to us from River. Which side of the bed is the left-hand side and which is the right-hand side?
Ooh.
Is it? It's the left-hand side as you look at it from the foot of the bed. It's the left-hand side as you're lying in bed.
Guys, no. Oh.
I'm glad I made you the host so that you can see the full horror.
So I can
as it
watch
transpires.
My dreams crumble.
No! Oh, this was a topic you weren't even aware of 5 seconds ago. And now it's like
care
your
about it
whole
very much.
being.
I've got a strong answer for this one.
Okay.
And everyone seems to agree with me as well.
Well, let's share the results. It's the left-hand side as you're lying in bed. I would agree. Because who matters here? It's the person in bed.
Yeah, sure, fine. But like, this is why we have stage left and stage right.
Precisely.
So we just say bed left and bed right.
Bed left and bed right.
But which is bed? Which one of those two is bed left?
So it is the left side of the bed as you lie in it, much as stage left is the left side of the stage as you stand upon it and face the audience, because to the people on the stage or on the bed, that's the direction that matters. But if you don't specify with bed left or bed right, then it's it's however you're looking at it.
I have a suggestion that is better than that.
I think that's possible.
Okay, so hear me out. Your organs are not symmetrical in your body. Okay?
Sure. Okay.
And?
Well, some of them are, but sure.
Some of them are.
Like the kidneys are, the lungs
for example, the liver is not. And the way your intestinal system, most of us have it such that if you are feeling nauseous, it is better for you to lie on your left side, so with your right shoulder up, than the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about this when I sleep because I've noticed that this matters. And sometimes I turn around the other way and then I'm like, no, this is better. So why don't we just call it so your, what's the first bit? Your stomach, right? So like if you lie on your left side, bear with me here. You
are on the ragged edge of my patience on this.
Shut up. You are on the stomach side. Because your stomach is down.
Fucking nonsense.
I would have to know.
Yeah. Stomach side and non-stomach side of the bed.
What the fuck? No.
I'm just impressed that you have a magic wand with which you can bestow this knowledge upon other people. That's amazing.
Oh my, stomach side and not stomach side. If this is you at full speed at 2 p.m, I'm glad we get you at 8 a.m. normally.
I'm just saying, next time anyone on this call is feeling a bit nauseous or something, because you could have them flipped in your body as well. So just try and feel which one is best, because one is gonna the way that bile and acids work in your stomach. One is gonna make you feel worse.
I have heard
that's fine. If what you wanted to do is hey everyone, by the way, here's a nice fact about how you can feel better. How this has anything to do with the cardinal directions of beddom, I fail to see.
This does tie into other aspects of language, though. For example, when we're talking about metaphors of time, we can be either ego-focused or object-focused. So we can be ego-focused, like we're moving toward the weekend. We're going into next month. We're going into March. Or we can be object-focused, and we can say, oh, Christmas is coming, and we're stationary. So we can be moving, or it can be moving. And so there's parallels in our metaphors of motion as well. Let's move on to the next one. Carol Jameson is the namesake of Carol Evans. I gave last names to make this question a little easier. I hope it works. Okay. What follows from this statement? Carol Jameson was named after Carol Evans. Carol Evans was named after Carol Jameson. Could be either, or they both just happen to have the same name. Carol Jameson is the namesake of Carol Evans. Who was named after whom, or neither?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it.
I think I got it, but everyone's got it wrong.
What did you think, Ben?
Surely namesake, independent of what the democratic sort of process reveals, surely namesake just has a definition, right?
This is semantics.
But
yeah.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
You're going to look it up in a dictionary, Ben, but I've done this.
Really? Why are people wrong?
Carol Evans was named after Carol Jameson. So Carol Evans is the younger person. So what people are saying here, 60%, is that Carol Jameson is an older person, say, had the name first, and they are the namesake. Carol Evans comes along, gets the name of her namesake, Carol Jameson. Okay, so let's talk about this one.
No,
because it's got an unexpected twist to it here. By the way, I got inspiration from the layman's linguist who ran a poll on this. And when the layman's linguist did a poll, it ran 35% to 40% between our first two answers. So I looked this up in the OED, and it says here, and I quote, a namesake is a person who, or thing which, has the same name as another. It does not specify the direction at all. Yeah, and in fact,
the sentence does.
What you mean? The Carol sentence?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might not say the. By the way, so it might say a.
Well, I will tell you that if you look in the OED and you see that definition, which is pretty bidirectional, and then you look at the examples that they cite, it's back and forth. Sometimes the namesake is described as the older thing that gave it the name, and then sometimes it's the younger thing.
Can I ask, if in Danish you also have namne?
What did you say?
Namne. Like that person is my namne. Nej? Okay. Yeah, in Swedish we just had a word that means like a namer, like a namey, like.
No, I don't think we have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we would just say she's named after me, or she happens to have the same name as me, or something like that, I think.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
We might say about someone with the same name, she's my name sister or name brother, or something like that.
There we go. Yeah.
So what does that mean, though? Does that mean that one person was named after another, or they just happen to have the same name?
I think it just means they happen. Well, I think it could be all of them, really.
Oh, okay. All right. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that is kind of vague. Let's go on to. We're almost there. We're coming up to our last ones. I feel good about how this is going. Pharaohcat gave us this one after a toot from Colin the Math Mo. I just about caught the train.
Oh my God.
Does that mean they caught the train or they missed the train? I just about caught the train.
God. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
I don't know.
Thank you, democracy. Thank you, people in our chat room. This makes me feel a lot better.
You made Ben feel good, and that's what matters here. Okay, 9 of us have voted. Number 10. Okay, I am going to end this now. And I'm going to share it. They missed the train. This is kind of what I would say. Because if I just about fell over, I didn't fall over. I failed to do the thing. However, apparently some British sports commentators are starting to use just about did the thing to mean they managed to do the thing successfully, but by the slimmest possible margin. Isn't that fascinating?
I don't care for that at all.
That is exactly how I voted, and that is what I care for entirely.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Because we can all handle more ambiguity.
To me, I looked at that. The previous things were like mind tongue twisters. This was not all that for me. I was like, yeah, they caught the train.
That
just
is
about, huh?
There's no problem.
You are wrong.
Okay. Well, if I say I just caught the train.
Yes.
Successful.
Correct.
And recently.
It's almost like adding that extra word changes the meaning of the sentence in the way that words work.
How insane you are.
It's true, though. You know, when you put words next to other words, you can get some strange chemical reactions. All right, we are going to go to our last one. And it is one also from Pharaohcat.
Pew, 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 pew.
I think this one's easy, but it's still fascinating nonetheless. Do you mind pushing in that chair? Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, we've all been here where you have to clarify, like, hey, baby, did you want me to turn on the thing? No, like, yeah.
Like negative questions. Aren't you ready
negative
yet?
Questions just
yes.
Always. And you feel like when you ask one, you feel like a doofus for having asked it because you've now obliged the person to like do the little mental roundabout as they're like, yeah, but no, but yes, but no.
I can see that there are some people who haven't answered yet and maybe aren't sure what their answer is going to be. Do you mind pushing in that chair? Yes. Do you mind pushing in that chair? No.
No, I don't mind. No, I won't do it. Yeah.
If I ask someone that and they say yes, unless they look particularly mean, then I'd assume they were going to push the chair, but I would also be thinking, you should answer no then. To answer that they mean yes, because...
It's one of those funny ones as well. Like my response to this is like, do you mind pushing in that chair? Yes. If a person genuinely minds pushing in the chair, in certainly in Australia, you then have to apologize, right? Like, because we're like over apologizers. So you've got to be like, yes, actually, I'm so sorry. I do mind. I'm like waiting for a friend. But you have to present it as if you've basically murdered one of their children and now have to like drag their body through the street with them watching. Like, it's so silly.
Now, there is an image. You know, it is funny, though. One thing I noticed in my research is that when you have a dispreferred answer, and this is pretty well known, there's a pause. There's a hesitation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind pushing in that chair? Yes. As in, yes, I do mind. Or if they say sure, which functionally means yes. So this means, so our answers, the results are, I'll do it, to the tune of 71%. Well, are you surprised? Was that a surprise?
I was surprised it wasn't 100%. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I think the answer here is that it depends. It depends on pauses.
It depends on time. And
it does.
And there are people from cultures that I've experienced where a very abrupt yes will mean, yes, I do mind. I'm not going to do it. I'm thinking Israelis, French people, like some Scandi people can be super direct. Like if you ask them a question of like, do you mind pushing in that chair? They'll just be like, yeah. And then they would just be like, I'm not doing it.
And then you got to do the thing where you say, when you say yes, do you mean? Ah.
But it's also probably in answer to the fact that like the way you phrase that question in those cultures is push in that chair.
Yeah.
Like it's not supposed to be a question. You made it a question. Now everyone's weirded out.
Yeah, totally. Like if you ask a funny little weird question, they'll just be like, that was dumb. You didn't give me an instruction.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you up to?
Well, I noticed for the longest time that my two young daughters would do something very strange when I would ask them negative questions like, don't you want to go? And they would say yes, which means, yes, I don't want to go. They would do it in a way that I think of as Japanese, because I learned that. And they would just do it over and over again. And it was just so disorienting. I had to realize, I noticed it every time they did it. And they've stopped now. So it's really interesting and funny.
You beat it out of them. Good boy. Good boy.
Thank you for voting. Thank you for your answers. And thank you for putting up with me having to do like copy and paste polls on the fly. I appreciate that I wasn't quite fully on. But let me just say there's a lesson here, and that is that semantics is underspecified. Semantics is underspecified. The meaning of words is underspecified. We use words to get us part of the way there, but then, as we've seen in our examples, we use context and we use real-world knowledge and we use our knowledge of the people and we use guesses about their intentions and whether they're going to push in whether they look like they're in chair pushing mode. We use all those things to fill in the blanks. And that means that language is ambiguous and we often have to clarify, but that's not usually a problem because disambiguation is a human superpower where we're really good at sorting it out. And then we get an added bonus, and that is that words and phrases can do double duty depending on situations that we are good at reading. Are you happy with the way things went, Ben?
I mean, I'll forget this in 2 episodes anyway, so it's all G.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, be sure to listen back like I do and then edit the transcript.
And then be mad again.
Then you'll remember everything. Yes, then you can die mad about it.
Yeah, just be angry again.
And then I'll remember neither option either.
Let's move on to our words of the week. This one was suggested by Lisa, and it's hard launch. The quote is, Lizzo hard launches her boyfriend. Well, this is our second Lizzo word of the week. Lizzo hard launches her boyfriend on social media ahead of the 2023 Grammy Awards. I would have thought that she shot him out of a cannon. But that's not what it means in terms of a hard launch. What does this mean? Do you guess? You want to guess?
It is the opposite of a soft launch. So they used to just be launch, and then there was soft launch, which was like when you like you spread it to some people and then some people, and you like let it trickle instead of being like pew pew pew,
kaboom,
we did the thing,
boyfriend.
And then there's been so many soft launches that now it's like, well, Lizzo was like public announcement, Everyone, I got boyfriend. Here he is. Here's what he looks like. Isn't he gorgeous? And yeah, that's a hard launch. I like
That's
hard
a
I
hard
would like
launch.
to imagine there was like actual fanfare, like literal ranks of soldiers with those funny long trumpets with flags hanging off the ends of the trumpets doing like a full.
Now that's a hard launch. And then you take a bottle and like break it over his head like he's a ship or something. The term soft launch and hard launch date from 1978. They referred to missiles. A soft launch is where the missile is non-explosively ejected before its engine is ignited, and a hard launch is when it is ignited while it's still in the launch assembly.
How fascinating. And it's moved over into the business world.
By 1985, it was extended to marketing. So there's the history of soft launch and hard launch, and now we're seeing it applied to boyfriends. How awesome.
How fascinating.
This one suggested by Liz. It's a combining form. I love the combining forms. Graham. Liz says, I heard the term horrendogram today, used to describe a particularly complicated diagram in a corporate PowerPoint presentation. Horrendogram. I love it and thought it could be a word of the week. Might also generate a broader discussion about the gram or ogram combining form. For example, spaghettigram, similar to horrendogram, and the very old-fashioned and slightly different gorillagram.
What?
What?
Wait, what? Also, why aren't these graphs?
Well, the gorillagram is because it borrows it not from diagram, but from telegram. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, I see. I
know what's about to happen here, Daniel. This is going to be like when you talked about how you went to libraries with like reference cards. You're about to be fucking old, aren't you?
It's just one of those 80s things. Go ahead,
Yep.
Hedvig.
So, Ben and everyone else, do you know of the concept of a singing telegram?
I do not. Oh,
No.
It is a
actually,
thing that occurs in like American movies and TV show and probably not in real life.
Yeah. Sorry, I just realized I'm thinking back to when I was a kid and I watched like bad SNL like comedy movies and someone shows up at your door and you're like, hello, this is your singing telegram, that kind of thing.
Yes. So
Right.
imagine that, but the person is wearing a gorilla costume.
It's a gorillagram.
Was that a thing that happened or was that a joke?
Still is.
Well,
you can still send someone a gorillagram.
Gorillagram.com.au exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your address, Ben.
Oh, gee. Hey, man, we've got multiple barriers to entry to this place. Daniel's house, on the other hand,
That's why I'm
wide
waiting
open.
until I
That is
know
true.
that you're at a
Like
restaurant.
massive.
You'll be at a restaurant. Valentine's Day's coming. I'm going to put out the troops. Actually, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the movie Brazil, where the protagonist, Sam, is at home and his mother sends a singing telegram and she gives a really ear-splitting invitation to a party. And then there's an awkward silence. And she says, it's reply paid. And he says, oh, okay. 2, 3, 4. Mother, I am afraid that I can. She says, no, you don't have to sing it. One of my favorite scenes.
Annie makes a good point, which I also agreed with. I thought the gram would have been linked to Instagram. Like,
Instagram.
I would have thought like
For sure.
flexogram or like strivogram or something like that would be a thing.
I've certainly never heard that. I wonder, has anybody else taken gram from Instagram and started using that as a combining form? Anyone heard
No,
this?
but I thought when you said gorillagram that it was a zoo who was posting a lot of pictures of gorillas. Or like
Wow.
a gorilla sanctuary or something.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, we're on gorillagram.
I mean, cam is used that way a lot. Gorilla cam.
Okay, so hang on. I feel like we've got to do the digging in. Where does the gram in Telegram come from? Not Graham Bell, surely.
Oh, no.
Writing.
It's Greek. It's
Writing, right?
Is graph and gram one of those alternating pairs that are pretty much just the same thing?
I thought so. Oh, then what's a gramophone? Just Colleen just said, gramophone is like writing sound because you like make it in the
with the grooves.
Wildly.
With the grooves from the ancient grebe.
Or the graves. Yeah, so it is.
Does anyone want to hear testimonials from gorillagram.com.au?
I don't.
No, not
Thank
really.
you.
No.
Okay.
Our last, Glyph has suggested POV, but it's used for second-person shots, and I had trouble understanding what that was. Except that Tiger Webb referenced it in LingCom. What is this, Hedvig? Help me.
Okay, so Ben and I, your local TikTok correspondents, here reporting for duty.
Hello.
They're on TikTok, so I don't have to.
POV is also a thing on YouTube. Like, do you remember when I was talking about POV playlist?
Yes, I do remember that.
POV playlist are things where it's like, imagine that you're in a 1930s veranda and you can hear the mosquitoes and there's some music in the background. So, and POV stands for point of view. There are also creepy ones where it's like, imagine that this guy is your boyfriend and he's feeding you chicken soup. And then there's an ASMR guy being like, hello, sweetie. Do you want Jeff's?
That is not something any of us need. That's horrific.
There's a whole genre of this, ranging from like more or less erotic. Some of them, there's a lot of weird ones.
Stop it. I'm cutting you off right there.
So this is used. So you said you're on a veranda in the 30s. That does sound like second person. Is that what we're talking about?
No. So it's like as if you're like the video you're viewing is from your point of view, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
So like when the creepy boyfriend is like, would you like chicken soup? He's like looking at the camera
but
being
no. I get what Daniel's asking though, is sort of semantically what it does mean from a literary perspective is a second person existence, right? Like you have to imagine, you put yourself into another space and place, right? Like like when they say point of view, they do not mean a literal point of view, right? Because that would be literally the things you see.
Yeah, and let me just read something that Tiger Webb, our pal, the ABC language guy, he said this at a LingFest23 panel. He said, POV has changed meaning on TikTok to no longer mean what you're seeing from a point of view, but rather a general scene. That's a cool language change.
But the younger generation just kind of erroneously have used POV because I think they grew up hearing POV a lot in like the various media that they consumed. And they're like, POV, you're like on a swampy bayou and there's like banjos twanging in the background and you can hear the gators rumbling, blah, 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 blah. What they actually mean is like, please imagine the following thing. Not like, I literally think that you are seeing the view. Yeah.
There has been a shift in like TikToks. Like, if you've seen like a standard TikTok video with an overlaid caption, originally you'd see like POV, you come home and your girlfriend's mad at you or something. And then the video would be of someone pretending to be your girlfriend. So it was like a first person video in that.
Like a literal POV shot, point of view shot from a technical perspective.
Now you see videos that are captioned like POV, you're with your friends and doing a bunch of stuff. And it's the you in there is actually in the video.
Okay. I think we found the shift.
Ben,
Thank you, Ben.
The host one, I think, is on my side.
Yep, Ben wins.
All of this.
Yep. Okay, that augmented my understanding. Thank you very much. So that is actually a really interesting shift.
That's a new
similar to the way that a selfie doesn't have to be of yourself anymore. People have reported that some people are coming up to them and saying, could you take a selfie of us? And the person taking the photo wouldn't even be in there at all. So there's a lot of shift going on with the language of film and photo, as you'd expect with the speed of the medium. Let's finish up with the last one, Mummy, suggested by Diego. Museums are shifting away from calling mummies. Instead, they are starting to say things like a mummified person as a way of approaching the whole thing with a bit of sensitivity and tact, realizing that this was a person who lived and who cared about their body, had certain beliefs and ideas. So a mummified person.
Makes perfect sense.
I think so too.
It also makes sense because the word mummy has particularly like in American culture and cartoons from like 50s and 60s and like cereal boxes is like a monster, the same way that like you could be a yeti or like something else, a werewolf, whereas that's not what mummies are. They're people.
Corpses, in fact.
Yeah. Just staying away from that whole 50s schlocky B-movie thing, which, is present for no disrespect to Brendan Fraser. All right, so what do we got? We've got hard launch. We've got combining form Graham, POV, and Mummy are words of the week. As far as comments, everyone who's listening, I am seeing your emails, but I'm terribly snowed under because I've just been to a conference and there's episodes and things. So let me dig out slowly and I will be reading your things out. I'm going to say a big thank you to everybody who suggested things for this episode. Thank you for coming and voting. Thanks to Dustin of Sandman Stories, who still recommends us to everyone. The team at Speech Docs who transcribes all the words, and most of all, you, our lovely patrons who give us so much support and make it possible to keep the show going. Thank you all for being here. Oh, what's that music?
Boop, 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 boop.
I'm pretending there's music. Hedvig, why don't you give us
I'm making the McDonald's tune for some reason.
Okay.
Wait, also, can I just ask, were you making the Australian McDonald's tune? Does McDonald's do that little jingle in other countries?
McDonald's made this jingle 15 years ago and it's in every country.
Okay. I haven't traveled internationally in a long time, okay?
Well, we're just getting rid of that and putting in our end theme instead.
Yeah.
That's enough of that. Hedvig, okay. I got you first.
Oh shit! Sorry. I got so distracted by Macus. Scrolling. I am first. This is fun. If you like the show, which hopefully you do if you listen this far, or if you hate listeners, a download's a download. I don't care. But if you do listen and you did like us, feel free to do some things to support our show. We like making this show, and we hope you like it too. And if you do, here's some things. You can follow us on all the socials places. We are Because Lang Pod. And you can also leave us a message on SpeakPipe on our website, becauselanguage.com. You can send us an old-fashioned email, and Daniel will get to it when he has time. And it is hello@becauselanguage.com. You can tell a friend about us. That's always a great way of learning about new podcasts. And you can leave us a review in any of the places where you can leave a review. So if you use whatever podcast app you use, you can usually leave a review. iTunes is sort of the place a lot of people go, but I can also recommend Podchaser, which is a website that sort of collects reviews from lots of different places. And we do have a new review from Chris.
We don't have to read it if you don't want to. Have you read this?
With the title, Undeniably Excellent, Undeniably Infuriating.
Yes.
Which is, I think, the
and
vibe.
then what I love underneath that, 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. I am reading ahead now. Can you read this out? Yes. I would like to.
We don't have to if it's too. If you feel like you're being X-rayed, we don't have to do it.
Can I read it?
Go ahead, Ben.
Because I have a feeling I feature. I have listened to seeming all the linguistic podcasts, and BL is top tier. It features a truly wide variety of topics, a pleasing blend of the irreverent and the intellectual, and fascinating guests. That said, you will have to learn to live with one of the most frustrating trios of hosts out there. One is dependably excellent and obviously thinks about the audience. One is incredibly bright, but often equally painfully smug. And the last, sometimes affected brashness, does little to conceal the brittle girders of his fragile ego. That's me. But truly, the excellence is more than worth learning to live with the bad, and I recommend it to anyone with an interest in language, linguistics, and words, just as I do to everyone else whose ear I can bend. I love that review so much.
That's from someone who likes us.
That's from someone who likes us.
To engage in therapy talk for a second, I feel incredibly seen right now. I feel incredibly witnessed.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
5 stars is 5 stars.
5 stars is 5 stars. Can we so dependably excellent and obviously thinks about the audience is Daniel.
Daniel, obviously.
Incredibly bright but often equally painfully smug is me.
That's
definitely you.
That's you.
I love it.
And I quote, sometimes affected brashness, which does little to conceal the brittle girders of his fragile ego. Oh, gee willikers.
He's got your number.
My name's Ben. I'll be here all week.
Oh my God, I love it.
More like these, please.
Yeah.
More like this.
If anyone is still listening at this point in the show, and like, good on you if you are, I defy you to leave us a 5-star complimentary but viciously honest attack review. That would be so good.
Go ahead, Ben. It's your bit.
You can also, if you want to go be above and beyond Chris's magnificent prose about my qualities, you can become a patron. You'll get bonus episodes. You can hang out with us on Discord. Chris, join us on Discord. You can attack me in not in person, but at least in a quicker turnaround than that review was, and I will enjoy it just as much. You will also be making it possible, though, if you become a patron, to have us transcribe the show by the wonderful, wonderful people at Speech Docs, who every single goddamn show have to listen to my prattering on, guarding my fragile ego, and somehow turn it into a Word document, and I always applaud their efforts. A shout out to our top patrons. Isden, Termy, Elias, Matt, Whitney, Helen, Jack, Tharocat, Lord Mortis, Gramayen, Larry, Christopher, Andy B, James, Nigel, Meredith, Kate, Nazrin, Joanna, Aisha, Moe, Steele, Margaret, Manu, Roger, Rianne, Colleen, Ignacio, Sonic, Snedgehog, Kevin, Jeff, Andy from Logophilia, Stan, Kathy, Rach, Felicity, Amir, Kenny, Archer, O, Tim, Alyssa, Chris.
You did it. I can't believe it.
And our newest patron at the listener level, Meng. Shit.
No. You got through the list. That's fine. Thanks to all our wonderful patrons. Our theme music has been written and performed by Drew Klopjanov, who's a member of Ryan Bino and a member of Didian's Bible. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the flippity flop, because language. Wow. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Anybody want to wave? Let's wave. Woo!
Yay, time!
Thanks for sticking with us. Did you have fun? And if there's anything that you'd like to tweet or toot, you can tweet or toot it with the hashtag LingFest23, because this is a LingFest jam. Yay, LingFest.
I'm gonna go to Twitter.
Yeah.
I have accidentally, when I
That's typing something on Twitter, folks.
And I type in the URL in my web browser, I type Twitter, it doesn't go to twitter.com. It defaults to another page on Twitter, which is about an underwater sharknado that we covered before.
Oh, that's right.
Wicked.
And because I happen to go to that one every time, my browser is just like, oh, you love that page. That is when you write Twitter. That is where you want to go.
Do you want me to make that your start page?
Is essentially my start page on Twitter is NASA footage shows an underwater sharknado home to mutant fish has erupted.
I wonder if we need to come up with, or perhaps there already is one, the name or the word or the description for when you're profoundly lazy and you keep going to the wrong URL to get you to the right URL. Do other people do that? Like I keep going, yeah, exactly what Hedvig just described, right? Like you go to that one bizarre, deeply buried link and then you go, oh yeah, and then I've got to click on the home page and get back to where I actually want to go.
Because I don't know how to do it for reals.
Well, because bookmarks would obviously make me a boomer, so I'm not going to mess with those. So instead I just type in the first few letters of a URL, go to that thing, then go to the next step.
It's that kind of talk that causes unrest.
Critique from the crowd.
Hedvig, have you pasted the link to the Sharknado tweet so that we can make that our homepage now? Because I will.
Yeah,